What about the Vikings? Are they one of the teams that can win the Super Bowl this year on paper? Are they one of those teams right now?
I'm going to say, I would say no. And I think the Vikings are really exceptionally well built. But I think there are going to be some growing pains early for J.J. McCarthy, as there are for most young quarterbacks and most young players. And I don't know if they're going to be able to overcome that. I still look at that division. Chicago with Ben Johnson, that's going to be a much improved football team. Ben Johnson, a great play caller, really understands the offense, really understands just football in general. I have a ton of respect for him. I look at Dan Campbell, what he's built in Detroit. And, Dan Campbell, I always say this about that guy because people will look at it and go, hey, he lost both his coordinators. Dan Campbell he plays the role of meathead exceptionally well. The guy is a super smart football guy. He's got his finger on the pulse of that team. They have done unbelievable things. I think they'll be right back in the thick of things. Green Bay, obviously, under LaFleur, really good football team. They had some struggles. Obviously, Love having some injury issues early in the season. But I think that division is so tough. I would say Minnesota's on the outside looking in as far as one of those teams that can win the Super Bowl.
So you put Green Bay above them?
I'd put Green Bay and Detroit above them,
okay,
and then kind of neck and neck with Chicago.
Okay. So let's run through this in the few minutes we have left here, because we did this at the top of the show. Why not? Let's go division by division. How many in the AFC East are Super Bowl win contenders?
Buffalo. One.
Okay, one. And then the AFC North. Who do you have there?
I would have the two teams that I'd like in the North are obviously Baltimore's got a real shot, and Pittsburgh would be my number 2 team.
Over the Bengals. You don't think the Bengals have because of who's holding out right now? What if let's just say the Bengals are fully constituted? You still don't think that Burrow could be that? Because what I said yes earlier, Mark, because they were the team at 9-8 last year. Like, don't let them in the tournament, and their defense wasn't that great at all, as we know.
Defense was bad, and their offensive coordinator came out in this offseason and said, hey, we're just going to have to outscore people.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. How did that work for you last year?
Not great.
Right. So I just don't like the way they're constructed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way their offense operates. And I would say that Zach Taylor, if you're talking about hot seat coaches, Brian Dable's on the hot seat, right? Zach Taylor would be one of my guys that's on the hot seat right now. And you've got one of the best quarterbacks. I think he's the best quarterback in football. I really do. But I don't like defensively. I don't like the way they're structured, and I don't like the way their offense is structured. I think you put too much. Like, that guy has got to play on the high dive from start of the game to the end of the game. You don't have the breather plays. You don't do you put him on the high dive and you say, hey man, go win us a game. And I just think that's an unfair position, even with a great quarterback, to put that guy in at all times. I just don't like the way they're built.
AFC South, how many teams are in that Super Bowl win contention? You put Houston
0.
in there? 0. Okay.
I just don't think I don't think Houston's ready. Like, they're a playoff team, but are they going to compete for a championship? No, I think they're maybe get to a divisional game, wild card divisional game, that weekend. But I don't see them as an AFC championship contender.
So you put Denver in before in our conversation as a contender, win contender. Chiefs obviously there. Do you put the Chargers in that mix?
I do. I think the Chargers, I think that division is really, really tight. And I think the Raiders are much better as well.
Sure.
I don't know if you're going to get 3 teams out of that division. Like you did a year ago. I don't know if you're going to get that because I think that division is so tight right now. I think the Raiders under Pete Carroll, obviously, they went out and they got the running back in the draft who, like, it's against my core belief to say anything nice about a Boise State player.
Nice.
But Genty is unbelievable. That guy is great. And obviously, Geno Smith, I think, is a huge upgrade at the quarterback position.
All right, let's whip through the NFC. How many NFC East teams are Super Bowl contention teams?
I think there's 2 teams.
Okay.
Philly, obviously. I think Washington is still there.
Okay.
I think the Cowboys are playoff contention, but I don't put them as a Super Bowl contender.
How many in the NFC North? You'd mentioned Detroit and you mentioned the Packers, but that's it?
Yeah.
Or you put
2,
the Packers in? You do put the Packers in. Okay.
I put the Packers and Detroit in there.
NFC South. Tampa?
Tampa.
Tampa.
I put Tampa in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in the West, NFC West.
I put the Rams and the Niners.
And the Niners, just because of past performance and a lot of these guys are back and healthier, and Robert Saleh's there now.
I'm a believer in Saleh, huge. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan. I'm a huge believer in Kyle Shanahan. I'm a big believer in Brock Purdy. The way he processes information and gets through his reads, and a lot of it is dependent upon a healthy Christian McCaffrey, and he's just such a weapon for them. But I think the one thing that happens sometimes when you have a lot of injuries, kind of the blessing in disguise, is you find a lot of young players that you're like, oh my God, that kid can really play. Oh my goodness, we can move on from that particular player. And I think that's what Kyle Shanahan found in Juwan Jennings, even though he's got the contract thing that he's going through right now. I think he found that in a lot of young players on the defensive side as well. So I really like the way they're constructed, and the reason they moved off those guys is because they found some young players that could really play. Pearsall really played well at the end of the year last year. So I think they feel pretty confident in the young players and how they establish themselves.
Fitting you, and we end with Purdy, because the number of Super Bowl contending winning teams you've just named are 13. 13 out of 32. Yeah. So about a third of the league here, more than a third of the league, which makes sense.
Yeah, when I came in the league, we had 28 teams in the league, and Joe Gibbs, it's the first meeting we ever had at training camp, said there's 10 teams in the league that can compete for a championship, and we're one of them. And it hasn't changed much since then, even though you've increased to 32 teams. It hasn't changed a whole lot.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.